Let's take a look at this cuboid. Based on what we have learned, if we know the volume of a cuboid and also the front area of a cuboid, we can figure out the width. So we can write it like this. However, you can invert it too, so that to find the front area, you can divide volume by width. So for example, if the volume is 200 cubic centimeter and the width is 10 centimeter, therefore 200 divided by 10 is 20. The front area is 20 square centimeter. Now, what if the front area is a square? And while we know the volume and the width, the question is not about the front area, but the height, or this side right here. Well, we can start by doing what we have done before. We start by finding out the front area. Volume divided by width, 50 divided by 2. The answer is 25 square centimeter. Now, since it is a square, then the sides are the same. Well, you know that side times side will give us the front area. Therefore, something times something should be equal to 25. Now let's remember again about our multiplication table. Let's find numbers that if multiplied by the same number will be 25. Here's the list. As you can see, we figure out that 5 times 5 equals to 25. Therefore, the sides are 5 centimeter. Now I'm sure you've memorized your multiplication table, so these numbers are quite familiar for you. So let's say I throw a number 81 and you have to guess what number times the same number equals to 81. I'm sure you can shout it right away that it's 9. So what does it mean? A number multiplied by another number. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, and so on. We can rewrite them into like this. 1 times 1 equals to 1 square with little 2 on the top. 2 times 2 is 2 square, 3 times 3 is 3 square, and so on. And inversely, we can also write with this symbol. It's a square root symbol. What is a square root? Square root is, again, the inversion of square. So if 1 times 1 is 1, then the square root of 1 is 1. 2 square, or 2 times 2, is 4. Therefore, the square root of 4 is 2. And so on and so on and so on. So for example, 3 square is 3 times 3, 9. Square root of 9 is 3. 7 square is 7 times 7, 49. So square root of 49 is 7. And how do we memorize this? Well, again, if you have memorized your multiplication table, then this will not be a problem. Again, if I throw a random number like 36, you will know that the square root of 36 will be 6. Because you remember, 6 times 6 is 36. Now, what if the number is bigger than 100? Let's say it's square root of 169. There are two ways to do this. You can always use calculator, type in 1, 6, and 9, and press the square root button, and you will get the answer. Or, if you don't have any calculator, there's a neat trick for this. First of all, look at this pattern. 1 with 1, 4 with 4, 9 with 9, and 6 with 6. For 5 and 10, they are special. How special are they? Let's see. So, if we have a big number that needs to be square rooted, we should look at the last digit. In this case, it's 9. Now look at the list above. The ones that has the ending of 9 is 3 square and 7 square. And therefore, the answer to these questions will be a 2-digit number where the last digit is either 3 or 7. So we have two options in here, and we'll see it later. Now, we count 2 digits from the back and make a line. You see that now we have a lonely number, 1, and we need to figure out what times what equals to 1. Well, of course, it's just 1 times 1, and therefore our options is either 13 or 17. So how do we figure out which one is the correct answer? Just try one of them. If you try 13 times 13 and the answer is that, then that's the answer, like this. Let's practice even more with two more numbers. Square root of 676 and square root of 1521. First of all, 676 ends with 6. And in the list, the ones that end with 6 is either 4 square or 6 square, while 1521 ends with 1. The ones that have the ending of 1 is either 1 square or 9 square. Then, let's count 2 digits from the back. For 676, that leaves us with just 6 in the front. And for 1521, it leaves us with 15 in the front. Then we need to figure out what times what equals to 6 and what times what equals to 15. Well, none of them has that number, but you can find the ones that is almost there. For example, for 6, 2 times 2 is close to 6. But 3 times 3 is 9, and that's above 6, so we cannot use that. Well, 3 times 3 is 9, which is close to 15, while 4 times 4, even though it's also close to 15, 4 times 4 is 16, but it's way above it. We need to find the one that is below it, so we will use 3 times 3. So now we can complete the empty spaces. 676 has two options, 24 or 26, while 1521 is either 31 or 39. Let's try 24 times 24. Oh, 24 times 24 is 576. That's not the same, so that means the answer is 26. While for the second question, let's try 39 times 39. That's 1521. And because that's the correct one, we will know for sure that 31 is wrong. Now, I mentioned it before that there is a pattern. Well, the ones that ends with 1 is either 1 or 9. The ones that end with 4 is either 2 or 8. The ones that ends with 9 is either 3 or 7. And the ones that ends with 6 is either 4 or 6. The ones that ends with 5 is 5. And the ones that ends with 0 is 0. So they are quite special. I hope this will be helpful for you when you are counting the square root of something.